Lunar is a trick-taking game that is fairly unique in that it's a 2-player or 4-player game, but it's built to be a 4-player game where you're playing half of a card each time. I'm going to let Chris explain that more.
Here's a Lunar setup on the table. This is a team-based trick taker in which I, if I'm here, will be playing with my teammate across the table from me, and these two players across from each other will be on the same team, thus the markers. There are going to be concepts that will be difficult to understand if you're not familiar with trick-taking games, but I'll try to explain as best I can. What players will first do is they'll pass 2 cards of each type from their hand to their partner. You'll notice that players have black-backed cards, which are suits, or colors of cards, and then they have these white-backed cards, which are numbers or ranks. What will be happening is players are each going to pass each other cards, and then they're going to, one by one, negate one color suit from being the trump suit for the hand. If you're not familiar with these terms, it might seem a little tricky, but so I'm going to say, hey, how about not orange? Then the second player, the opposite team, says, hey, how about not pink? And then my teammate says, hey, how about not blue? I.e., this round, the green suit is going to be considered the trump suit or the strongest suit. And so, now that might be good for me because I have a lot of green here. What I will do as the lead player on the first team is I will take one of the cards from my hand and play it out. So let's say that I want to play out a green card. Well, we're going to be comparing suits or colors of cards from the team mixed with a number against the suit and number played by the other team. So then this player here will look at their hand of cards, and they can either play a color card or a number. And let's say that this player here says, woof, I don't like this. Let's say they're going to play out an 8, because they could either play out a number or a color card. They want to try to follow the same color if they can, and in this case they cannot, so this is what they play. An 8 is a strong number card. My teammate here says, well, we're going to play out an 8, so hopefully that we can win this one. And now the last player on the opposite team here is going to look through their hand of cards, and they say, oh, look at this, we have a green color card, so they can play this one out. Now, normally, the easiest resolution for cards is whichever player has the highest number of the starting suit of the lead suit would win. So in this case, we both have played green and we've both played numbers. In this case, these players would win because they play the higher strength green card for the round. In this case over here, let's say that my partner had played this one. It's the last card played that breaks a tie. So this team still would win it because they played a higher rated green rank. Or the last one at least, so that breaks the tie. This means that this team, we'll call them orange, advance on this trick tracker here. There are 12 total tricks that will be played. That was one of them. And whichever team wins, each trick will advance on this track further. At the end of the round, there will be some combined total of the number of tricks won. So in this case here, after playing out, and this player would start, by the way, and they could keep these cards over here that they've won out of play, you're going to see which sector you end the game, end the hand in. So in this case, because the orange team won too many tricks, they win 0 points. They're awarded 0 points. And our excellent team here gets 10 points because we only won 3 of them. Or it could happen that something like this occurs, where we won 4 and they won 8, meaning they are in a 10-point scoring sector and we're in the 0. Or, in a perfect split, 6 and 6, each team is going to be awarded 5 points. You'll notice that some cards also have stars on them, so however many stars you won at the end of the playing out the whole hand of cards, each one of these will be worth a point as well. So we'll go to the score tracker, so even if each team won 5 points, you then count the number of star cards that that team won and add that to that. So for example, if they had won several of them, let's say that they had won 3 of those stars and we won 4 of them, then it would be 8 to 9, and it's a race to 30 points, or at the end of 5 hands, whichever team has the most points would be the winner, usually going to end when someone hits 30. So just for one more demonstration here, this player would lead out with a card, either a number or a color. I would follow then afterwards, and I would say, well, I'm going to play green. This player over here looks at their hand. Well, they can't play a number because their teammate already played a number. They have to play a color. Well, darn, They can't follow the same suit, so they throw one of these out there, and then my partner can play out any numbered card, because the green is the first suit card of color that was led, and also happens to be the trump suit, so then our team would win this one and be awarded the star. That's just a quick demonstration of how Lunar works.
Tom mentioned in the intro that this is a game that really is best suited for 4 players, and I absolutely agree with that. I don't know that I'd really be interested in playing this game at 2 players because it takes away what I think is the most compelling part of the game, which is the limited communication team aspect of it. I want to state right off the bat that this is not an entry-level trick-taking game. I think this is a game that is going to go over best by people that are comfortable with the systems, that are comfortable with the idea of limited communication in the sense of passing cards to your teammate before the trick-taking begins. And that is something that, you know, I've played a lot of trick-taking games, and that's still something that I have difficulty with. I always feel like I'm passing the wrong cards. I'm struggling to kind of get what my partner is giving to me. But it's just so fascinating that you can get into a mode where you really feel like you are in tandem and there's a flow between you and your teammate. And I think this game does that very well. The big hook here is that one player is playing a suit and the other player has to play the value, the number value. And if you're not leading amongst your team, you don't know what they're going to be playing. You can't discuss, all right, I want you to play the number this time, so because I want to play the suit. You can't do that. You have to kind of just learn as you're going through the round kind of what is happening. And it leads to such a tense feeling around the table. You know, a lot of times trick-taking games are very breezy, right? You're playing cards, you're talking, you're laughing. This is not that. At least it hasn't been in my experience. This is a game where it's very quiet. It's a very quiet, tense atmosphere around the table, and I happen to love that. If you don't like that kind of a feel, if you want a more breezy trick-taking game, this ain't it. This is a game that really is going to draw you in and kind of try to get you to be thinking like your partner. And I just think it does an amazing job. I think it looks fantastic. Theme, you don't need a theme in this game, and there really isn't a theme in this game, but the aesthetic, I think, fits the mood of that atmosphere around the table. I really like Lunar a lot. I'm giving this an 8.5, a seal of excellence. I think that this game really stands apart in a very crowded genre. So Lunar for me is a big winner.
Again, I think Mike nailed it here with a couple of things. This one is the most serious to me of all these trick-taking games. It is the most quiet, the most thoughtful, the one that clearly targets connoisseurs, which I think Mike is at this point. And I'm not surprised he likes it that much then. For me, it's just above that curve of... I do like the breezy ones. You know, maybe breezy plus. Is that a thing we can start?
Breezy plus. Yes.
Breezy Plus, yes.
Breezy plus.
For $9.99 a month, you can subscribe to Breezy Plus.
So I enjoy it. I think it's a very distinct, very clever game. It's not one I'm going to play a lot because this one does make me feel a little bit dumb. It does have the opposite effect of something like playing Bacon, where you just kind of do what you can, you know, or many other trick-taking games. This one, you need to be good at this. If I played this with people who play it a lot, I'll feel bad at it. You know what I mean? Having said that, cleverness, absolutely. Interesting look and vibe, absolutely. Being its own thing and being fun in short bursts where I want to dig into it, yes. So this one is getting a 7.5 from me. I still like it. I still would recommend it. And again, especially if you've played a lot of trick-taking games, you want something different, you're going to get it in Lunar.
We're saying a lot of words here, and we're coming up with the same rating. I'm also a 7.5.
Okay.
I like this one a lot, but I like them. I like the games. I like both. I like lighthearted trick-taking games, but I also like the whole everyone shut up and be quiet.
Yeah, and think.
This one is the first trick-taking game I played in a long time where I think counting cards is not only a viable thing, but almost not required, but if you want to do well, you want to count the cards. There's only, what did we say? It was 6 of each?
6 of each
6
suit.
of each suit. And if there's only one Trump suit, I'm going to want to know where, I would at least count the Trump suit cards. And if you talk at all, that messes it up.
We're sitting around kind of joking, laughing, haha. We came back, and Tom and I just looked at each other. We were on the team and went, oh.
Yeah, I forgot. I was like, I'm going to count the Trump suits this time, and I forgot. And there's also only 7 stars, so you can count where they are. They're in the 3 threes, and then there's 1 on each color. And that's interesting. I like it. It's clever. It's unique. I don't know how often I would play it, and I would only play it with people who are trick-taking experts.
That's it.
Yes.
I think ultimately that might be the little sticking point for me.
I'm coming in. I'm kind of debating. I'm coming in at the 8. I was debating between 7.5 and an 8 because I agree. This is one that I'm going to find fewer times to pull it out, but it gets points for being original, very clever and different. If people say I've played so many trick-taking games, I bet you have not played one quite like this. The closest approximation might be that Cat in the Box, that it kind of deconstructs the elements of trick-taking out a little bit, and this does that by splitting between the suits and the ranks of the numbers. It has a 2-player mode in it, which plays differently than the 4 because you have to make some of your cards visible face up. So you're only playing 1 at a time. The opponent goes. Then you play 1 from hand and then 1 from the face-up display on the table. That's good, but it's different than the 4-player mode. You'll want to know that going into it. But the fact that it is still good for 2 or 4, that gets points. So it's an 8 for me for originality, for thinkiness, and I agree with everything that's been said so far.
That's Lunar.